Oh, it works. Good. All right. Welcome back to the stream. Welcome to a game programming stream, which I haven't done in quite some time, mostly because I've been lazy and I need streaming to keep me on task. So that's how it be. There is music playing in the background. Unfortunately, I neglected to move my normal music over or reinstall Winamp on the new streaming computer, so I can't pop the music name up on the screen, but I'm currently listening to the video interweb playlist on the mellow playlist. So in addition to the music playing, there's also a nice rain sound going down. It's very calming. Right now it's playing music from Octopath Traveler 2, the Crestlin's Night. I love the video interweb playlist. It's so good. Put it on yourself if you're listening to this stream. It's a wonderful time. Anyway, let's get to it, shall we? Oh, before we get started, real quick, brief shout out and thanks to Cassidy Co. for the follow a month ago. Is that right? No, 3 days ago. 3 days ago. My thing here is wrong. Anyway, thank you for that. Greatly appreciated. This manager is incorrect, but it should be okay. All right. Nothing is broken as well, right? Yes, good. Everything seems fine. All right, it's been a minute since I did this. We're staring at the old GameMaker IDE. Let's get back into it. This is going to be a kind of a all over the place stream to an extent. I'm going to be doing a bunch of like random nonsense, and it's going to be a very chill stream. I'm going to take breaks every so often to make food for myself because I haven't actually eaten lunch yet. I'm going to be like kind of muddling about trying to figure this out. So this is just sort of a co-working stream as it would. But what we are doing, this is my normal setup here. I've basically done nothing. The only thing I've done is created the initialization stuff and set up source control so I can commit changes and keep all this stuff backed up. What we are doing is we are creating, or I am creating, you're not doing anything unless you're doing something similar, a dungeon crawler. This is in fact not influenced by the fact that I played vampire crawlers a bit ago. This is a personal project. But if you're not familiar with a dungeon crawler, you can look them up on YouTube or whatever, but they're a fairly old style game, very classic. Let me see if I can get a good, like, what's a good one? Like Eye of the Beholder? Maybe? I think that's one of them. Yeah, Eye of the Beholder. Okay. So this here is an image from Eye of the Beholder, very old dungeon crawler. And basically it's a thing where you're running around a dungeon, you have, stats on this side or whatever it is you're looking at. You have directions you can change, so you can move left, right, forward, backward, and turn. And it has basically a 2D image of the map in front of you with, whatever's going on in the room. This is the kind of thing I'm trying to make. Not exactly this, but in a similar vein. So we're going to see what I can do with that. I know this is possible in GameMaker because, for starters, what was that game? Was it Repos? I think it was Repos. Yeah, Repos. I played this game on stream a little bit ago, trying out the demo. This is made in GameMaker. It is a first-person dungeon crawler. It's very cool, by the way. Highly recommend checking that game out. It's so cool. But that game is also made in GameMaker. I don't remember how I confirmed that. I think the developer told me that on Twitter, or maybe I just saw it in game and said, oh my god, this is made in GameMaker? It's crazy. Anyway, enough faffing about. Let's get started here. So, first thing we need to do is I need to set up... I think what I'm going to do is I need to set up an object for Trying to think of the best way to do this. Let me get paint open. Okay, here, I'm going to capture paint real quick so I can kind of illustrate what I'm trying to do. Where's the window capture option? There it is. Why isn't it? What? Why isn't it capturing paint? That's bizarre. Okay, hold on. What happens if I capture paint using this? Does that work? No, it doesn't. Very strange. Okay, I'll just do like this then. So basically, what I want to do is I want to have the screen have three things on it. Over here is going to be the actual dungeon window. So like, it'll have your first force perspective kind of thing where you can see like, there's the door to the next room. There's your four walls. This is going to be your door to the next room. And then you're going to see like, here's a torch, for example. And that's kind of what you're going to see. This is your view when you're in the room on the side. Then over here, we're going to have a second view, which is going to have just a grid. The grid will have rooms on it. You're going to be just a little triangle on it, not a big deal. And each one of these rooms will be like this. It's just going to have four entrances or whatever. Each of these are shaded in. So I can go, okay, so there's an entrance this way, and this way I can see there's like a door or something over there. And maybe it's a wall here, so it's a passage. So then if I was to look here, I'd see, I don't know, a door on this side or something. This is kind of what I'm going for. Very simple. We're not going to do a whole lot of sprite work. It's going to be very template, very basic stuff. We're just going to try and get this functional so I can turn and I can move around the dungeon and have it display on this side somewhat accurately what I'm seeing. That's pretty much what I'm trying to get out of this. So, whoops, don't want to do that. Okay. The hardest part of this is always figuring out where to start because that really informs a lot of what you're going to do. And like, if you start off on the wrong foot, you're going to take a lot of time going in the wrong direction. Not even because you're doing anything wrong, just because you're going to have to build things incorrectly without having a good blueprint of where to really start with everything. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to make first the object for the... I'm trying to figure out the best way to erase this. Each of the rooms doesn't technically exist. Each of the rooms will be a part of a matrix that will include information for 8 points for 8 cardinal directions, plus a center. So you can enter a room, you can have up to 4 things in, 4 exits in each direction. You can have 4 things in the corners, and then you can have a center point. What will be in each of those is up to me later on, but the important part is it's going to be doing that. Now, okay, so I think I should do object FPS window. Map window. Actually, it should be window map. Also, it should be FPV, not FPS. First person view. Okay, now how do I do this again? Create. Do I store it as a script? I think I would store it as a script. Yeah, I think I would store it as a script object or script item, sort of. Probably code, since I'm technically doing this as. Yeah, no, I would store this as a script, and technically I would store this using. How would I do this? I think I would do it script, and I would do this as like script. And this would be like matrix room, because it's basically that's what it is. It's a matrix. I'm going to be getting the room information from it. Create group scripts. Now, I can't remember how this works. It's because I need to be able to input a function and get a result out of it. So let's look up GameMaker scripts. Yeah, function name. So script matrix room, parameter statement. How would I pull out a thing that matched the parameter though? Parameter. Function move speed direction. No. Show debug message. No. How do I get this? Return. Yeah, it's return, but how do I return the correct thing? See, so it's return. I don't remember what I returned, and I returned like room number. So I need to describe it like that because I don't want it to. Wait, I'm remembering now. I need to create variables for each of the things to hook into. God, I don't remember how I did this. Because this was all part of the visual novel system I was building up. But I don't remember how exactly I set up the retrieval of matrix data in that. Or array data. You know what? I actually can find out because I have all this stuff on GitHub. Hey, object. No, I want scripts. Export scene. No, this is the creator. This is not the actual visual novel itself. This does not have anything in it. Shit. Oh, right, it was in Blockball. That's right. Script, text wrap, no. Controller, collision, AI, resolution, collision. didn't set that out? I must not have set that out before I lost track of everything. Fonts, lib borders, visual novels got nothing in it. Objects, scripts, notes on the data structure. I mean, that's helpful, but I don't... Okay, function asset load, music, 0 sprite, sprite. This is just loading the assets. That doesn't help a whole lot. God, I don't remember. I don't remember. I might have to just open up a previous project. Let me just do this real quick. I'll save that just because, you know, whatever. Object. Which one was it? Was it? No, because these are all in the old ID too, so it won't work. Ugh. Yeah, none of that works. Oh god, I don't remember how to call any of this shit. You see what I mean about like first step is the most important part? I guess what I would actually do is I would just... create the matrix and then like pull the matrix later on. I guess is what I would do here. Okay, how do I create a matrix? Can I data store in a matrix, or is this specifically a math thing? Should be able to do it. Okay, let's do like room. Let's do room 0. No, let's hold on. I'm just reading up on arrays again so I can remind myself how these work. Okay, you know, I could just randomize this, come to think of it. Because I can just loop through this thing called the room array. Did I say initialize room array? Not really, no. Yeah, no, I could actually randomize this, couldn't I? Because what I could do is I could, like, if I make it a 3-dimensional array, so make this X, let's make it I, J, and then K. And then this would just be a random digit. So then what I could do is I could do like for loop. God, it's been so long. I'm so out of touch. I'm so out. I'm so out of it. Yeah, so for var I equals 0, I is less than 9, I plus equals 1. So var I, is it semicolon or colon? Semicolon. I I less than, do I want, no, I want 0 var I equals 0. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So there's 8 directions plus 9 center. So I is less than 9. I plus equal 1. So I gets looped through, then do the same thing again, but we replace it with J. And then we do the same thing again, replace it with K. So now K will loop around, and then I would randomly select between 1 and like, I basically would randomly select one of several possible pieces, let's say, for each part. I guess I could theoretically weight it too. So this is a generation. That would basically run on startup. Yep. I don't know if I need to. That's opening up my starburst, I guess. How is there 6 pieces per serving for starbursts? That's a little crazy. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Is this Ori and the Blind Forest? Oh, Halo 3. ODST. Very similar vibes. I should probably play ODST. I never actually did. Starburst. Oh yeah, there's the saxophone. That's definitely ODST, yeah. Okay. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna just make this real quick. This is gonna be a nice quick, like, just do that, then there. Then And then we go like this. Is there a way to rotate this? Oh. There we go. All right, create group. And we're going to duplicate that. We're going to edit this. And we are just going to fill this in like that. Very simple. Man, Starbursts are so tasty. God, I'm so out of practice, though. Let's make this red, actually. So okay, so that's sprite play. Let's rename this a sprite play corner. And then we're going to create a new one. There. So we got 4 sprites now. Sprite entrance, which is going to be like corner, like the actual doors in the walls. Sprite poi center, and well, corner and center, which are points of interest in the corner and the center of the room, respectively. And sprite wall, which is just if there's nothing there. This is Near Automata, yeah? Yes. I actually don't even know why I was questioning that. It's not like I played Near Replicant enough to remember the music. Okay, so let's see. Right now this will generate like an 8x8 grid of this will generate an 8x8 grid of rooms. Each room will have 8 things in it. So for this, going from 0, 1, 2, 3 will be up cardinal directions, 4, 5, 6, 7 will be diagonals, and then 8 will be center. So for that, if K is less than 0, 1, 2, 3, so K is less than 4. How do I select a random object? GameMaker, select random sprite. Choose. Oh. So I could actually choose one of the sprites to become that one. Ooh, okay. So it would be choose sprite spur entrance or spur wall. If K greater than 3, which means it is 4, 5, 6, 7, and K is less than 8. So it's going to choose one of those two. It'll be 0 or it'll be sprite point of interest center. And I wonder if you can do weights somehow. I shouldn't eat more of these starbursts right now. This is not good for me. I guess what I would do is randomly choose. So I guess what I would do is actually I would go random. It's a for loop. Upper range. So this is an integer. So there we go. So 30% chance. Of getting in the corner. And let's do like a 10% chance being in the center. Hello, Wolf Queen Anne. How are you doing? Yeah, it's understandable. This should have a, there we go. Yeah, okay, that works. Well, while you're surviving, feel free to enjoy the music as I do this random garbage. Charger? You mean for your phone? Oh, okay. Oh yeah, I saw that. God, I can't remember who it was, but I did see that it's somebody big was coming to DBD. Yeah, that was it, right. I guess it makes sense because they've already got Leatherface and they got Freddy in there too, right? Freddy versus Jason in Dead by Daylight would be funny as hell. Although I guess isn't there a 2 killer mode? So I guess really that's already in there. Wait, Michael Myers left? That's lame. What was I doing? Right. So we've got my room array thing here. I didn't realize they had a timed contract on that. That's not good. Because that means then you can, I guess it's maybe okay if they have like a legally distinct Michael Myers come in and take the place, but it's like, it is a little weird. A little iffy. Okay, what was I doing here? Let me think. Okay, I've got my random room generation right now. Really? Oh god, that's even worse. That's actually like the worst way I feel like they could have done it. I don't think I bought him. I definitely didn't buy him because I don't play Dead by Daylight that much. I played like a couple games, maybe. Yeah, I played like 2 hours of it. Yeah, no, I definitely don't own Michael Myers. So I will never have Michael Myers again. I didn't even know Hellraiser was in the game. Or the Cenobite, I guess. Actually, I can go to Properties DLC, can't I? Yeah, I had no idea. Okay. Apparently I own Nicolas Cage. I think that's the Mandrake, whatever the thing is from Stranger Things. Ooh, I do own Pyramid Head. Ooh, I didn't Leatherface. I got Leatherface. I don't see. I do have Resident Evil. Why the hell did I buy all this? I do not remember buying all these DLCs for Dead by Daylight. I must have gotten them during some kind of deal or something. I know you could get a bunch of the original killers and stuff just from like some bundle they have that makes everything super cheap. But I don't remember like buying Leatherface and Pyramid Head and Nick Cage. I would have bought Nick Cage. Don't get me wrong. I absolutely would. If there's one thing I would buy for this game, it's Nick Cage. Just because it seems really funny to run around as Nick Cage. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm in a lot of movies, but it's really strange that I'm here as Nick Cage in this video game. I can't do a good Nick Cage at all. Yeah, I have no idea why I own those. It's very strange. It's not the first time I've gone to my Steam library and gone, why the hell do I own this? Yeah, but that's because you play this game a lot. I don't. I just bought all that DLC for some unknown reason. Okay, right, focus. I got things set out. Alien. Oh, right, Alien from Alien. Right, of course. That makes sense as a killer, actually. That's actually a perfect killer. They're definitely going to add, going by that, they're probably going to add Terminator in at some point, I feel like. Like, if you watched the original Terminator, that's basically a slasher movie. All right. All right. Anyway, this thing generates a room. I assume this will work. I don't actually remember how the generation of these things works. So let's just go to here. And we're just going to call execute a script. We're just going to execute matrix script and see what happens if I run this. Okay, it did not fail. Yes, perhaps. Depends really on how free I am. That's why I don't stream a lot, because of my non-existent free time, really. I do a lot of stuff and not a lot of time for streaming, unfortunately. Unless it's at weird random times, which means I can't stream as consistently. But anyway, this is good. Nothing crashed, which means the script ran without a problem. You know what? That's fair. Okay, anyway, the thing ran. Fair enough. Fair enough. But also it does rely on my free time, so we'll see. Yeah, I'm just gonna, I'll save source control for later on. Okay, anyway, the matrix was created properly. This is a good sign. This means things work. So next step is here. What do I do with the next step? The matrix room is created. Okay, I'm going to make a test object. And we're going to do on key pressed space. We are going to execute a script. Now for this one, we're going to do a second function. Okay, ad starting in a minute. I'll be back. I'm going to run the ad break so I can go take a leak at the same time and maybe throw something in the microwave. Actually, you know what? I might heat up the oven because I did get that mac and cheese. So I might heat that up and like get that set up. But I'm going to get that started, take a leak, take a quick break, be back in a second, and then we're going to continue with this. And the music will just be running in the background. So I'll be back in a sec. I guess apparently the ad break ended sooner than I thought it would. Curious? Well, whatever. I should have refilled my water. Whatever. I'll get it next time the oven's ready. Okay, so what we're going to do here is we are going to return room array zero zero zero. Let's see if this works. So now, object, we're going to script and I think I want to do a system message. Is it debug? Show debug message. And that should tell me what that first thing is going to be. Let's run this. Variable index 0 out of range 0 for room array. I have a feeling it's because I haven't defined a room array. Yeah. It's because I haven't defined room array. Ah. I didn't initialize the array. That's why. Hold on a sec. So, in the correct scenario, I would not actually be initializing Need to really like initialize a random array. Okay, so room array. What if I do 1, 1, 1? Let's see, so it should be this. So now if I want to do this, let's do 1, 2, 3, 4, 0, 0, corner. So I should be able to pull 0, 0, 1 at this point. Why is it pulling? Why is it giving me an error? Execution error. What is going on here? Oh, it's because I did that. It might be because I did that. Okay, there's test down there on the debug, so that's correct. It might have been because I forgot the semicolon. It was not because I forgot the semicolon. What happens if I get rid of the return? Execution error, blah, blah, blah. Okay, what happens if I get rid of the show debug message? Aerial index 0 out of range, 0. Room array. Bar turns. Why is that out of range? Why is that out of range? Okay, let me try rewriting what's in here. So if I do like A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then one more. So then it fails, even though it's just a string. So why is it doing that? I know what the issue is. I know where the issue is. I don't know why that's the issue. Why is that giving me a problem? What's the exact error again that I'm getting here? The exact error says error of key press, push execution error, variable index 0 out of range 0. Is that because it's not pulling the room array properly? Or is the script not properly running during initialization? It's not running properly during initialization. I'm just going to do it in a code block instead. It makes it a little easier. Actually, wait, this is a script. I don't want to call a script. I just want to call the function. So it would just be that. There it is. It's right there. It shows it. It's right there. It worked. But for some reason, it's not pulling it properly. It's because it's not being set as like a global script, global array, maybe? It must be because it's not being set as a global array. Duh, of course. Right. The way I used to do it is I would store the arrays in an object. So this array is being stored effectively in the initialization object, which is deleted on room start. So what I actually need to do is I need to create a new object. And this will be called object room data. Literally all this is going to do is it's going to be persistent. Not going to be visible. But all it's going to do is this going to exist to hold the room array information in it. That's literally all it does. So we want to go to object inits. God, I don't remember how to do this. Object room data. Now, how do I run a function? I guess the easiest way actually would just be to have it on creation. It does that. So just on creation, it creates this piece of information here. And then this is why I have a master object, because then that information would be passed on to the master object, which would then pass that variable onto something else. But what we can do in the meantime is go to the test object, and we can go to let's execute code. How do I get instance ID get? There's probably a much easier way to do this, but like, okay, instance find. Object is going to be object room data. We're going to get the very first instance of that. And then we are going to get it as see, that gets their ID. So then I want to get then when I do room ID dot room array. No, it's just room array. Let's try that. No, that also fails. Failed an object in nits. Execution area, variable limit, variable index out of range, room array. To nits. Why did it? What? Object nits step 0, line 14. There's no line 14. That shouldn't be there, true. That should be commented out. Watch out! Oh, it's working! There's nothing for it to return to, but like it works. That's the important part. So now, instead of doing it this way, we can do it this way. So then we've got, there we go. Sprite entrance is the 0th thing. That's, oh, it took me an hour and a half to reach this point where I've now generated an invisible maze. I have generated now an invisible maze that I can't see and I can't interact with, but it exists and I can technically interact with it. And that's exciting. And it only took me an hour and a half. Ugh. It would have taken me like 30 minutes back when I was doing this regularly. Maybe 30 minutes. But you know what? We got there in the end, and that's the important part. Okay. Now where do we go? I think realistically, what I would actually do is like, first off, probably this again. Let's say 30% chance of corners. Realistically, this is what I want to do. Ah. Mm-hmm. Local variable not set before reading it. Okay. Oh, yeah, right. I didn't. Duh. Okay, so it's pulling to the correct sprite, but realistically, what I would do is I would instead just set these to be values or text. So like this would be wall entrance poi corner poi corner 0 is fine, and then poi center 0 is fine. So realistically, that's what I would do. And then, all right, now we get to the fun part. Okay, now I've got to do this. Create object. We're gonna also change room main real quick. So background, we are just gonna make this sprite. We're just gonna create a new sprite. Let's make it like cyan colored. That's a little too bright. Let's make it like this colored. Yeah, that's nice. That's good. Okay, so we're gonna rename this to sprite matte back. I just need something on the background right now. It's not going to be visible if I do it on the black. Better than nothing. What is this? I have no idea what this is. What? Oh, test object. Duh, of course. Yeah, I can stay there, whatever. Move into the corner. All right, object 6, we're renaming this to object, wait, no, I've already got this. I've already got window map. I've already got this. All right, add, we're gonna go to the draw step. I always use visual for this because it's such a pain to remember all the code for this stuff. How big are these sprites again? Sprites are 64 by 64. Okay, so draw. Yeah, okay, that works. Let's set to 0, 0, actually. Okay, so we have it up in the corner. Oh, that's not getting captured. Hold on a second. I'll set a new capture source for this. There we go. So now you can see it. It's just got a little thing up there in the corner. Not a whole lot to go with. But now there's something to look at, and that's the important part. Okay. So we are going to pull function call. Actually, I'm probably going to, you know what, let's just live preview, draw sprites. Yeah, okay. Okay. Yeah, I remember how to do this. No, I don't want to do that. I want to call, what's the actual function? It is script makeshift room return. Yep. You know, I'm going to make another, this is going to be script matrix room Test. I know this song. What song is this? I think this was on a trailer when I saw this game one time. It's very funny this is on the VIP playlist, though. If you know the song, shut the fuck up. If you don't know the song, don't worry about it. And if you're watching the VOD, you can't even hear it, so nobody can judge me. Wait, that's not on Steam, is it? It's not on Steam. Huh. Interesting. Okay, there it is. All right. Right, what was I doing here? So I want room ID, and then I want xval, yval, and sprenum. And basically all I'm doing there is I'm just return room ID dot room array. Like, this is literally what I'm doing. Should be spurval, actually, because it's technically not a number. Okay. And then I'm just gonna go here real quick and change that to root. It's gonna be test. There. Okay, that changes that stuff. So now we go back to window map. Let's see, room, all right, room object is equal to she should be less than 10, right? What did I do 10 or was it? It was 999. Okay. So 9 is correct. How do I do a switch case again? I just remember the specific syntax. Switch expression. Var sperval is equal to that. Okay. Is this? Oh, it's Toho. Okay. I thought I recognized this song, but I didn't recognize what it was from. It's Toho Chiraiden, Subterranean Animism, Buta Otome, Moja to Odoro. I honestly only recognize any of the Subterranean Animism thing because there was that one Slam Jam where they named it Subterranean Slaminism. I have no idea what any of the Toho games are like, besides like bits and pieces, really. Actually, no, that's a lie. I know exactly what a lot of the Toho games are like. They're bullet hells. And also, there's a fighting game, and I think there's a Mahjong game. Very strange series. Okay, so case, constant, then this would be draw sprite. And then break. And then default, just break. Actually, in the yeah, because default case would just be 0 anyway, so it doesn't matter. Okay, so now what values did I set here again? Okay, so we got wall, entrance, poi corner, poi center. Two, three, four. Just going to make sure everything is 100% correct so I don't mess with stuff. Okay, so we got that. In the case of the wall, it would be sprite wall. In case of entrance, at least sprite entrance. Case of corner, it would be sprite poi corner. And then in case of center, it'll be sprite poi center. Good. So we got our switch set up. But also I need to set my X and Ys. Let's see, variable xval and var yval. Xval is going to be 64 times I. Yval will be 64 times J. Now, how do I do a sprite rotate again? Actually, it's draw sprite transformed is what I want, isn't it? Like, that's really the correct thing to use here. Because draw sprite transformed gives me rotation controls as well. Okay, now this should be xval and yval. Okay, so xval and yval are in there now. Okay, so right now it's going to do all those things. And then I guess I need to do a rotational value as well for that. Let's just do this because it gives me a little bit more. So in case it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then 9 doesn't actually have rotational value on it, so that doesn't matter. Can I do multiple things in the same case? I can't remember. Yes, yes, I can. Okay. So in the case it's 0 or case 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So 0, 4, 1, 5, 2, 6, 3, 7, and then 8 is a default case because the center doesn't do anything. Rod valve on 90, 180, 270. X frame. It's it's right there. Is the rotation should be in degrees instead of radians? That's what I'd assume. Oh, this is definitely Ori in the Blind Forest. Yep. That's got the theme. Zero to 360. Perfect. Rotating anti-clockwise, where 0 is to the right. Zero is to the right. Anti-clockwise would be 0, 90. Okay, so I guess it would actually be 0 to 70, 180, and 90 like that. This is something I would change later on. Oh, hello, Cassidy. Hello, welcome. Welcome, first-time chatter, Cassidy Co. How are you doing? You're also not a cat. What are you playing at? How dare you? I know what you are. I've seen it. Anyway, welcome to my game where welcome to the stream where I attempt to make a dungeon crawler on stream, despite having not coded anything for like 5 months at least. Do they? Do they? Yeah, let's see if this works. Ready? Here we go. I just been programming the thing to actually draw it, so let's... Okay. I don't know if this is working correctly. No, this is GameMaker. I should learn how to use Godot. I don't know how to use Godot. So we're in an interesting spot here because it's clearly working. Air quotes. I don't know if it's working right and this is just fucked up the way I did it, or if it's working incorrectly. Yeah, it's I remember using the old IDEs way back when. It's much cleaner now. Like it's clean, it's nice. You got all the stuff on the side. I can source control things in application now, which is great. Snooze those ads. Okay. What? Because I didn't change the rotation. I didn't change the rotational value. That's why I'm stupid. That's why. Look at that! Still kind of looks messed up, but it's like a thing now. There's like actual stuff happening that's sort of correct. Let me make this bigger so it's easier to look at. Actually, hold on. Right click, transform, fit. There we go. Okay, this works though. This is actually working. Sort of. Okay, this actually is very good. Like, this is impressive. Technically. It's kind of impressive in the same way that you see like a guy make an airplane in his backyard and he flies for 50 feet and then crashes in a firebomb. But he flew that 50 feet, and that's the important part. Now, what the hell is going wrong with this? What's the wrong part here? There's something very incorrect, but I don't know what. Okay, let's start here. I'm gonna just change this so it's less than 1. Let's just do that. So we're only gonna show a single square. Let's do 2 squares. Clearly that didn't work. Right, 2 squares in either direction. Because it's 4 by 4. It's 2 by 2. Okay, now why is it doing that? Also, why didn't it do it this way? It must be something to do with the sprites being drawn in a specific spot. That must be it. So let's add 100 to these so they move out of the corner a little bit. Okay, that explains it. So why the hell are the sprites rotating like that? Why? No, wait, actually, why are the sprites rotating around the corner? Oh, because I didn't set it to be the center. That's why. Ignore how awful that thing looks. I didn't set it to be middle center. Let me do that for the wall too. Yeah, that explains things. How about the poise? Poise middle center. That should be middle center too. And now if we do this, yeah. And then if we go back to the map object, we can keep that there just because it'll make it easier. And then just change it so I'm not limited to 0 or that. Change it back to 9. And up. Oh, it's beautiful. It'll show up on stream in a second, but I assure you it's beautiful. Yeah, look at that. Look at this. It's a dungeon. It's a real ass dungeon. I think there's too many poise. I'm going to have to drop that percentage down by like half, but it's a real ass dungeon. It's a dungeon. All right, I'm going to check. The oven's been on for an hour now, so I'm going to double check on that because I need to put food in it. I got to oven the hot food, cold out, hot oven. Anyway, be back in a second because I got to run ads anyway. So go take a leak or, you know, whatever it is you need to do. I'll be back. All right, we're back. What's latest? And I know this song too. Final Fantasy VI? Huh. I must have heard remixes of this before because I I must have heard like I've heard the original version of this, not the piano version that's currently playing. And then I must have just seen it incidentally because I never played 6. All right. All right, important part is we've got a dungeon. Look at this. You can even like sort of trace it. I'm going to change the percentage chance of those things real quick though, because we have let's do script matrix. I'm going to change these percentages because like there's way too many point of interest. I'm going to make this like 10%. And for this, we're going to make it like, let's make it 2%. Dungeon is way too crowded with point of interest. Yeah, that looks good. That looks way better. Now, these are all temporary sprites, obviously, so you don't have to care at all about the fact that, you know, the sprites are being located inside the walls, and the walls are kind of jittered all over the place. The important part is it's consistent and it works. What is strange is the walls here is not lined up with the corners, even though it should be. Hello, Brad Pumper with the Thumper. How are you doing? I feel like it's been a minute since I've seen you last. Also, is that your first break? Hopefully it's working properly this time. Let me actually double check. I figured out what was wrong with that thing. It was pointing at the wrong file because I moved this over to a different computer, which means things needed to be changed where they're like located. A bunch of them were pointing at a file that didn't exist in a folder that wasn't really getting access to. God, I don't have Excel on this thing. Ah, fair enough. Fair enough. Well, it's working. You properly showed up in the file. So now things are good. Theoretically. Still plenty of room for them to break. Because I don't know C that well, and I just kind of winged it when I wrote the code for that particular section. Woohoo, yeah. Preferably not my code. Break someone else's code, that's fine. This looks good though. Like legitimately, this is legible. You can read this, the map. You can see like a path. Like, look at this. You can actually go, hey, check this out. You go into this entrance here, and there's like a thing on the wall, and then you keep going. There's another thing on the wall here, and then you get this intersection here, dead end. But there's a secret section right here. Maybe if you break through the walls, you can actually get in and touch this and activate it. Maybe it's a secret switch. Maybe this is a secret treasure room. There's stuff here. Ooh. Ooh. Now, there is a unfortunate number of rooms that don't exist, like this one here. It's fully closed off. There's more than a couple hallways that need to be fixed up, but that's all code generation stuff that can be dealt with later on. Don't need to fuck with it now. In fact, theoretically speaking, I will never need to fuck with it because this is not going to be a generated dungeon. This is going to be a handmade, crafted path dungeon in its final state when I actually use this. But this is a prototype, and I need a random generation thing because I need to throw things at a wall and just see what breaks. And the important part thing is, nothing's breaking right now. Okay. So, next step. Next step is we are going to make our character. Now, in any game, the character is the most important part. It's the thing that is your insert. It is what you are in the game. It is your existence within the confines of the small reality that you are playing in, which means it's very important that it's designed with care and attention. So we're just gonna do that, and we're good. Yep, that works for me. So there is actually a reason I'm doing this, because dungeon crawlers are first-person things, right? You need to have some sense of where you are, where you're pointed. And this is a triangle. It is literally the pointiest thing that exists. This is the direction you're facing. You can't see my mouse. The center, the top point, is the direction you're facing. The flat is the direction that you were pointed back from. That said, this is actually incorrect. This needs to be rotated. That's not it at all. Okay. Eraser. Because of the quirks of GameMaker and how things just work in this, what I actually need to do is I need to start here. There we go. Because this way it's pointed right, which is 0, and then I can rotate it around the central point to reach, whatever angles I need. Thing is actually middle center this time, which is important. Okay, object, create. Now, in most cases, I would not actually bother making this a sprite. I would just have the object be floating in the corner of the map someplace as an invisible thing, and then the player, exists as a function of it. But because we're doing this quick and dirty, we are going to actually have this thing be an object with a sprite that you legitimately interact with. So here's my controls. Control key down, left, GM visual. No, that's not it at all. I want to sprite. Probably draw sprite transformed. So it's going to be at its relative position. Sprite, we're going to do sprite player. Okay, no, I'm doing this very stupidly. Delete that event. So on create, we were going to create a variable, and the variable is going to be facing. Facing is 0, which means it's facing to the right by default. Actually, no. Facing is 90 by default, which means it's facing up. So create on, there's better ways to do this, but like I said, fast and dirty. So key press left. Facing is equal to, left is going to be plus equal 90. Key down right. Facing minus equal 90. So when I go in here, I'm just going to drop the player sprite. No, cancel. I'm going to drop, I don't want that. I'm going to drop the player object. Cancel. Why did, there you go. Player object is here now. So now if I do this, it will not respond to my keyboard inputs because I'm not drawing the sprite correctly. This is why you do it the other way, where you have an object that just controls things. Ugh. Okay, so on the draw event, draw sprite transformed, sprite is going to be sprite player, frame, X, relative, scale, rotation is going to be facing. Whee! Okay, you can't see it, but I swear it's working. There we go. Watch this. Ready? Whee! Excuse me, that's not a tits. That's clearly some sort of Red Cross, which is not Red Cross because that would make it a war crime. I can't remember which one it is. One of these is key pressed, which is like once per press instance, and the other one is once per frame that it's down. I can't remember which one is which. I'm just gonna do this. This is just, might as well do this way because it's easier. Okay, let's go to GameMaker, key down versus pressed. Can I remember which one's which? Keyword input, key code, blah, 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 blah. Okay, keyboard check pressed. Okay, left. Okay, so now, theoretically, give it a second. There we go. Look at that. Yeah, that's the stuff of night. That's the stuff of dreams right there, baby. Okay, now this is slightly trickier. I need to convert basically, if I push up, I should go forward in the direction that it's pointing, and if I push down, it should go backwards. So, how do I do that? This is also not the correct way to do it, technically speaking, because I need to, like... You know what? No, it isn't the right way to do it. I should be doing it a different way. So, on creation, it's that, and then... Okay, so on room location, basically all I need is just the X and the Y value for the room location, because it needs to be jumping around to specific spots here, right? So if I push up, it should go 1 or -1 in the room location values, depending on where it is. So if I do... Okay, how do I actually calculate this out? Because the facing is currently a degree direction. Would it be... Is it sine or cosine? Okay, wait. Is cosine... Which one? Is cosine 0 at 90, or is sine 0 at 90? Okay, sine 0 is 0. Okay, it's 0, 1, 0, -1. So sine will be... So sine 0 is 0, which means sine is going to be the positive and negative y values. This is a little... Okay, hold on. Let me show you what the problem is here. Okay, we're doing it this way. Emma's painting you a math class real quick. Okay, so here's GameMaker. So GameMaker's directions go like this. Positive X is this way, positive Y is that way. That's the 0 point. Now, GameMaker's degrees go this way. 0, 90, 180, and 270. So if my angle is set to 0, sine will be 0, which means it will have no effect if I multiply it, but cosine of 0 is 1. So over here we have sine is 0, cosine is 1. Cosine of 90 is 0. I made a little garçon C in there just now. Okay, so C1, 0, -1, 0, 0, 1, 0, -1. So that's what I need to deal with in order to get this thing to work properly. The degree is basically the same no matter what. So what I would need to do is I would need to do X lock, Y lock. Okay, so X location is going to be modified based on the sine, cosine. And then if X lock is less than 0, actually, this would be like plus equals this. So if X lock is bigger than 0 or X lock is greater than 9, actually, I guess it would have to be two different ones. Okay, that doesn't actually tell me anything because I haven't set the movement yet. Okay, okay, I need to real quickly move this thing over to here, I think. Why did it do that? Okay, hold, what? It was working, and now it stopped working. And that's concerning to me, and I don't know why. Oh, it's because I did plus equals. Duh. Should just be that. Huh. Huh. I don't know what that was. Why did it do that? Okay, it's facing up. Wait for it. If I push up, it doesn't go. Okay, so that's correct because right now it's technically in the top right, top left corner. Technically, it's over here right now as far as it's concerned. It's not moving because I didn't change anything. I don't know what's going on here. Okay, this part's fine. It's like in the right spot. So now if I do this, it moves down by a teeny amount. That's not what should be happening. And now it's moving in diagonals, and I don't know what's up with that. Why is it doing that? I don't know. That's probably why. Huh. I mean, it's kind of working, but not really. Okay, wait. I'm doing the math on this wrong. Okay, 0. 0 means sine is 0. It's facing to the right. So cosine is correct. It'll increase in x, but it won't increase in y. So when the keyboard up is pressed, x location should increase by 1, y location should increase by 0. Now, technically speaking, these are absolute coordinates. These are not adjustments. Oh, that's why. That definitely doesn't help. Okay, now the question is, why does it keep going in the wrong locations? Okay, that seems correct. Like, it seems okay at sometimes, but like, I don't understand why it's doing these weird angles. It's right here that the problem is. This part's the problem. I think it might be hidden. I'm going to move it to like 1000, 1000. Yeah, there they are. Huh. What? Hold, hold on, what? Wait a second. Wait a second. Is this using radians? It is using radians. Ah, of course. Is there a function to convert it to radians? Okay, the deg to rad function does that. There we go. Now it works. That was it. Okay, up and down are reversed, but apart from that, things are working fine. Do I want to do arc sign for that to reverse it? Ooh, that crashed it. Is it just a sign? No, it's arc sign. Error in function arc sign. can also just do it this way. All right, ready? Check this out. Ready? Woo, woo. It works! It's a little out of range there. Easily fixed. Yeah, I just need to change the range maximum on that. Instead of 8, it should be 9, it should be 8. There we go, problem solved. All right, check this out. Ready? 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 Let's dungeon crawl. Ready? Ready? Check this out. Ready? Oh. Check it out. It works. It works. You know, apart from the sections where it was incredibly frustrating to figure out what was going wrong, it works surprisingly well. I'm very happy about that. And that only took me 2 hours and 45 minutes. You know, like half a day of work. Half of a full work day, basically. Okay, my brain is burning after that whole mess. It's not even that hard, all things considered. And this is still like, all of this is technically just placeholder code, because if I was to do this for real, I wouldn't do it this way. The reason why I have the X and the Y locations is because I'd be locking it into specific box grids on the dungeon map. Which is realistically what I should be doing anyway. Okay. That is the player character sort of taken care of now. We can now move around this dungeon map. Sort of. Let's see what's next. I think next I'm going to do the FPV things. So let's do sprite FPV entrance. sprite FPV wall. Yeah, let's just do that for now. So actually, let's do wall first because that's the easiest one. All right. I want a straight line. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I kind of like that. I kind of like that. Yeah. You get a sense that the wall is there. Kind of get a sense that they're looking at a corner or whatever. You know, let's just duplicate this and use that as the entrance because it'll make it easier than doing it from scratch. Because really all I need to do here is just like that. And then let's throw in this in the center. Okay, so our window first person view. We're going to create a event here at the create. We're going to create a step event. We're going to create a draw event because that's kind of the big one. Okay, so create. On creation, I'm going to have to adjust how these instances go into the room because I want this to show up after the object because it's going to be referencing the player object. So instance find obj player first one, and we're going to call that player obj. I'm actually going to just double check that works. Good, it works. Didn't crash immediately, which means it loaded in proper order. Okay, so let's look at the player object real quick. Player object has X lock and Y lock. I think there's a shortcut to close everything, but I don't remember what it is. Okay, so this thing has facing, X lock, and Y lock. So player facing, player X lock, player Y lock. And at every step, it is basically going to update those values so that I'm always sure where things are. This is, again, why it's important to have a master object that just pulls all these values into it at the very start and just manages all of them, so you don't need to do referencing other objects. Everything is just internalized in the master control object to begin with. But fast and dirty. We're just doing it fast and dirty. God, I also need to get a room object, don't I? There, so now I've got, that one also needs to be under, doesn't it? No, that'll load in during it, so it doesn't matter. What is this from? This is an Umineko song, okay. It's a very bright and peppy song for a game that's so fucking nutso. All right, so room object is created, player facing object is created. So we got player facing. I know this song. This song is Chrono Cross. Yeah, yeah. I've heard this one plenty of times. Do boo 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 do do do. Oh, fuck you. Okay, I'm just trying to figure out like what else I need to add to the object to get it to work the way I want it to, because I got to clear all these variables now. I guess I can do it later. I don't need to really clear them now. I guess I actually do need to declare them now. Well, no, I just need to look at the matrix script. It's just room array. I don't even need to do that, come to think of it. But that was in the player event. I don't need that. Ugh, get out of there. Okay, so at each step, it's going to get updated with the player's facing and location. So with that information, I can go in and do room object dot room array. Let's see, player object, room object. So, well, actually, no, it's, what's the function? It's script matrix room return. Okay, now sprite values. Sprite value. How do I get the right sprite value for this? I need the facing. The facing is going to be what determines this. So we're going to do a switch case, I think. So in the case its facing is right, which is 0. So in case facing is 0, you know, I just realized I should do this here. On the step, if facing is less than 0, facing plus equals, if it's less than 0, that means it's going to be like negative 90, which is 270. So plus 360. And if, I don't even think it'll work this way, but just for like safety's sake, just for safety's sake, really. So in case it's 0, that means it's facing to the right, which means I want to get var spur direction. Let's get spur wall. Oh no, val wall spur var poi spur 1 var poi spur 2 var poi spur c. This is basically going to give me the sprite I'm going to need for the wall. If there's a point of interest visible on either the left side or the right side of the screen, depending on my facing, and if there's a central point of interest visible. And if there's one of those, I'm just going to I'm going to use these two sprites because I don't really feel like drawing anything else. Actually, you know what? Maybe I will. Also, I got to take another ad break, so I'll be back in a couple minutes because I got to keep an eye on this mac and cheese I'm making. So I'll be back shortly. All right, I'm back. My mac and cheese is looking good out of the oven. So let's get into making this look as good as that mac and cheese is going to be as soon as I finish. Ugh. Right. Okay. Okay. If it's facing 0, which is to the right, I want wall 1. Poi spur C is always going to be 8. On 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, it's always going to be 8. It's actually always going to be 8. So I don't even need to like do that. 0. This is part of the problem with setting things up maybe incorrectly, because now I've got a bunch of things that are in bad positions, like how electrons move, but positive charge the thing that moves according to various ways that stuff is set up. Okay, edit image. We're just going to make a little, I don't know, little yellow. There. There's a point of interest. There we go. So now my sprites are all dressed up and looking pretty for when it comes time to draw the thing. Theoretically. This one doesn't really matter as much where the point of rotation is, since it's kind of just a static image. Okay. So wall sprite 0, actually wall sprite 0 is to the right. 1, 2, 3. And then point of interest sprites 0, 1, 2, 3. Wait, no. 0, 1, 2, 3. 0, 1, 2, 3. 1, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Four, 5, 6, 7. 180 is there, so this would be 4 and 7, and then 4, 5, 6, 7. So this would be FPV wall. Poi 1. I just need to initialize these variables so they don't break everything the first time I run this. Okay, so that theoretically should work. And then if anything breaks, it'll just be a case of like, I messed up which things are supposed to be on what locations according to the numbers, because things are jumbled up and incorrectly done. Okay, now, draw sprite transformed. I'm just doing this so I have the variables handy. She goes under these. Okay, so what are the values that could be in here again? If it's wall or entrance. I just like using my Switch cases. What can I say? Uh, Rotation 0, yes. So let's make... Okay, that looks decent. This is something I can place later on, so I'll just be able to mess with those things as I need to. So draw that. So FPV wall is all set. And actually, the rest of these, I don't even need to really do that, do I? Why aren't these things auto-filling? That's the strange part. They should be auto-filling based on this. So switch FPV wall, poi 1. In the case, it is poi corner. And then just default case breaks. Okay. That should theoretically do it now. So let's see what happens when I run this. What's going to break? Nothing? Not only is nothing going to break, it's actually perfect? Hold on. First up, I need to change where this thing's drawing it because this is in the wrong spot. Let's make it to like 750 and then change this to like 250. It needs to be a little higher up. So not only is it working perfectly, it just works. Okay, is there something with a central point of interest I can see? Okay, there's a slight bug where it seems like it didn't properly do it. Does that have 3? Sure does. Doesn't seem like any of these have a central. I did set it to like 2% chance, so that's not too crazy. But also, it fucking just works. It just works. It just works. It just works. It just works. There's still more I could do, of course, but like, it just works. Like what I could do instead is I could go here, I could change the entrance sprite. Just, what am I doing? Nope, that's not what I wanted to do. Just do that, right? So now if I'm staring at an entrance, wait for it. Okay, so now if I'm staring at an entrance, it's transparent, right? So now what I theoretically could do is I could fit in here. Like I'm technically looking at I shouldn't be looking at a wall right now. Uh-oh, something broke. It's backwards. That was strange. Okay, something's acting funny here. I don't know what's up with that. But like this part's working, technically. I think. I think the transparency might be doing something weird. But like what I could theoretically do after this is I could have it do a look forward into the next room in that direction and see what's in that room and pull it out as a view. If it's a door frame. Like, let me see here. If, so So I pulled out the data there. So if FPV wall is equal to what did I set it to? Is equal to entrance. Then this would be like then it would have to be FPV distant is equal to room object player X lock, and then it would have to be okay. What's the player movement code again? I do have player facing, right? Yeah, player facing. So I have the player facing, then okay, then that would be like, so that should theoretically pull the next room up. Unless, okay, so hold on. If it's greater than 0 or less than 0 or it's greater than 8 or that it's less than 0 or greater than 8. Let's just do this to be on the safe side. I think break just ends loops, but it should work for this case too. And then if I go to draw and I get FPV distant in there, and it would actually be this one here. Break use without context. Yeah, I figured. So I'll just remove that. It fucking works. Okay, I need to change this location a little bit and the sizing. So let's make that like divide by 1.5 instead. And then let's move it over like 75. So if FP wall equals entrance, then it does all this stuff. And then else. Yes. Okay, now I just need to move it over a little bit on the X, I think. Actually, you know, it'd be easier if I just like change this to like 0.5. And I think the X needs to be moved over to like, let's make it 0. Let's make it 25. Actually, you know what makes it even easier? If I just don't do that, instead I just do this. And instead I just go here and change this to middle center. And then I go here and change that. That's already middle center. This is middle center. This is also middle center. And then this is middle center. And then if I press play, okay, it needs to be moved down. It just needs to be moved down a little bit. So a little bit of Y movement, and then we'll be good. So draw, this is the player, I don't want that. So Y place should be, let's move it down by 100. Let's see how that looks. Too much, way too much. That needs to move down by like 10, I guess. Uh, 15? 16. $17. Yeah, that looks good. Okay, now only thing left to do is just move this up to here. And then remove this so it's back to full. Oh, look at that. Look at that. I'm so fucking smart. This whole thing needs to be moved over because it's in the wrong spot now, but oh god, I'm so smart. I'm a genius. Let's make it like 1200. No, not 1200. Let's go 1000. 1000 should be fine, right? Yes, that works. Perfect. Wait for it. There it is. Look at that. Let's fucking go. Huh. Okay, looks like there's a little bit of weird carryover that happened. Just interesting. There's some kind of strange carryover effect that just happened there. Okay, hold on. What had happened there? Some strange carryover effect is happening here on the corners. I think that's what's causing it. Basically, for whatever reason, it's not setting it to 0 perfectly, I think. And that's causing things to, like, get stuck until I move another square away and reset everything properly. But you see this? This is something working exactly as intended. Oh, God, it works so well, honestly. It actually works super well. Yeah, there's a little bit of weird carryover that's happening where things aren't being reset properly to values they should be, but it's like it's working. I'm so happy about this. This is actually incredible. Oh, it works so well. I'm so happy about this. I'm honestly, this is like, I know it took me almost 4 hours to do this, but this is like, this is not a lot, but it's so nice that it actually worked and all the things I was thinking of properly function. So like I said, this is a prototype. This is literally just proof of concept for me to test something out, see how it works, how stupid my idea was. In this case, it turns out it was actually pretty smart. But most importantly, what pitfalls I need to watch out for. And I've learned a couple of them, specifically that I need to make sure I set walls as real walls for starters, and also that I make sure I set things properly so 0 is right and then 90 is up. That is very important. But the tech works. Like, the basic functionality that's present here is 100% functional. It is acting exactly as it should be, for the most part. Like, there's some parts that aren't working just because of weird bugs, but like, it's generally speaking solid. And I'm absolutely incredibly happy with this. I'm going to do one thing, though. I'm going to get rid of that. What's drawing the numbers? I think it's the player object. Yeah, it's these. So we're just going to disable those real quick. They were handy while I had them, but they're not necessary now. Now I'm just going to do something here real quick for my own funsies. Oh, it didn't work. Crap, it didn't work properly. What am I doing? I have OBS open. Okay, I see what happened there. For some reason, it was like a spot behind where it should have been. There we go. All right, well, that is basically what I need to get done with. Job done and dusted in 4 hours. I'm just glad this thing worked. I'm gonna keep doing programming streams, I think, on Sundays maybe, just because seems like a good idea to do that. I'll have to yeah, I'm gonna start making progress on a project I've been putting off for a little too long. So you're going to see a lot of groundwork that's going to have included some of this, but also some of the other stuff I've done in the past. Anyway, that's where I'm leaving it for today. So thank you so much for stopping by. I hope you enjoyed this 4-hour little programming trip with some good music if you're watching not the VODs, because hopefully this isn't being recorded on the VODs, because boy, would I get slapped with all kinds of DMCAs if it did. Anyway, thanks for stopping by. Enjoy the rest of your day, night, evening, what have you. And see you next time.